Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode with the Free Agent. Today, I've got the honor of having Jill Lublin. Jill, thanks so much for joining.
It is a delight to be here, Bo. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah. So this topic is super exciting to me. As I've been in business for 5 years, 5.5 years actually, and I feel like the sales engine's humming. Now I'm starting to work on marketing, advertising, and PR are kind of on my radar, and they're for me, from my perspective, they're kind of part of the linear path. But really excited to have you on, so we can talk about some actionable insights for SMB population and what they can do tomorrow to flip the funnel leveraging PR. Does that work for you?
I love it. Thank you.
Awesome. So quick bio. So Jill Lublin, international speaker on the topics of publicity, networking, kindness, and referrals. She's the author of 4 best-selling books, including Get Noticed, Get Referrals, and co-author of Guerrilla Publicity and Networking Magic. Her latest book, Profit of Kindness, went #1 in 4 categories. Jill's a master strategist on how to position your business for more profitability and more visibility in the marketplace. She is CEO of a strategic consulting firm and has over 25 years experience working with over 100,000 people, plus national and international media. Jill teaches a virtual publicity crash course and consults and speaks all over the world, and has spoken on many stages with luminaries like Tony Robbins. I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins. Never been to an actual event, but I aspire to go to one soon. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. And again, thanks so much for being on the show. Just to jump into everything here, I kind of mentioned at the outset of the discussion, but I'd love to set the stage. In your opinion, how do you really differentiate, say, PR from marketing and advertising? I feel there's a lot of companies out there and individuals that kind of blend them together when they're actually, in my opinion, different functions that serve, different parts of your business.
Yeah, and they are very different parts of your business. Number one, publicity is free. Advertising, you pay for it, right? And
Yeah.
frankly, you still don't know what results you're going to get from ads. What I love about publicity is that it generates that credibility, that third party endorsement, that trust factor, and gets you leads and clients. I can give you story after story where it's happened consistently. And it's really important for building that visibility.
Sure.
It's a strong visibility building activity that generates. And the truth is, you're doing publicity from the minute you walk out your door, from the minute you go into a Zoom room. It's all publicity, my friends. So let's get with it and get it right. And I think that makes a big difference.
No, I love that. And so is PR something that, most companies or individuals should institute once they've mastered marketing and advertising? Is it done in parallel? Like when should somebody start really pushing and focusing on PR as it pertains to kind of the function?
Well, I like to say plant your publicity garden now and grow it so that it blooms properly and in the right places. So what does that mean? You got to be planting seeds no matter where you're at in your business life. That's at the beginning or in the beginning of a launch, in the middle of something, toward the end. The reality is it goes side by side with most of the activities you're talking about. Listen, Philips Corporation brought me into the director of marketing
Mhm.
for a product that wasn't even going to be out for 18 months,
Sure.
because big companies, you got to get their secret is they're looking far ahead, planning far ahead. You as an individual, a small company, it doesn't matter. The reality is you can look like the big guys by getting great publicity, which is free and makes you look super, super awesome.
Sure, but I mean, ultimately, it sounds like it should be done in conjunction with, a strong concerted effort on the advertising and marketing side. Is that correct, or do you think that it could be done standalone if done effectively?
I think it can be done standalone. And then, listen, I have plenty of people who do publicity only and spend no money on ads. And then I have people come to me on their knees going, oh my God, I've spent so much on ads. They
Right.
actually weren't that effective. What can I do to get free publicity? So my area is the free publicity specialty, and I've seen it produce amazing results.
Yeah, and I'm that same camp as well. I've actually have a post-it note that says "bigger bullhorn," right? And to me, that means that's more around the PR side and getting publicity. Advertising is important, but similar to SEO and SEM, it can be a complete wormhole and a huge burn for your business. And what I really liked about the beginning of the call is you said, "Hey, PR is free," right? So with that in mind, what can a small to medium-sized business do tomorrow to create a better PR mindset and get noticed by their ideal clients? Because, in my business, at least, like companies only need me when they need me. And so if I'm not in front of the right people at the right time, it's a missed opportunity.
So a couple things. One is start with your message. Like, what's your PR message? Not necessarily company message. And I think, Bo, this is where most people go wrong. They are like, oh, I'm a chiropractor. Well, that's nice. What about the fact that we're all sitting on Zoom in positions that are, strange for hours and hours and hours, or looking at our devices? That's creating havoc on our bodies. So let's give me 3 great ways that I can look at my device and not ruin my body. That's good advice versus I'm a chiropractor and here's like how to come see me. And it's boring. Nobody wants to hear it. So one thing you got to get really focused on is what's the value and benefit. Like, really give people, I like to call them golden nuggets, sprinkle them in, give your best stuff. That's what you need to be telling people. That will make a big difference.
Makes funny, as you mentioned the chiropractor, I straightened up because I've gotten bad posture over the last 2 years with COVID and being chained to my desk. So I think the mention about the chiropractor, as well as kind of the golden nuggets, which I like that phrase, is a great segue into the power of podcasts. Now, I'm sure you do podcasts all the time. Thanks again for coming on mine, but you're also a book author. So, I mean, what are your thoughts as it pertains to maybe, spending time on podcasts? Is it generally time well spent? Is that a good way to kind of get the PR engine moving?
So I love spending time on podcasts. Here I am with you. You bet. I think it's a great way to get the PR engine moving. And here's the good news for all of you. It's doable. Like, you can find wonderful podcasts on iTunes, which is what I recommend. Go put in your keyword. If you're business, put in business. If you're a woman, put in women's podcast. Like, be specific where you can is super great. And I love podcasts. Number one, it's easy to do. They're fast. You're right on track. You're able to be seen and heard quickly. You're in collaboration with the podcast, presenter. And so I love that. And immediately you're an expert, which then you can send this out and leverage it to your clients, put it, all over your social media, and make sure that people know that you're being interviewed. Always great.
I love it. And so do you find that there's one medium that's maybe more effective than others, i.e. TV, radio, blogs, podcasts? Are they all effective as it pertains to PR?
Well, I'll tell you a little story about, you've probably heard of Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yes.
Yeah, so I got hired by Mark Victor Hansen. They were putting out a big book, and he sat me around the table a year and a half before anything was going to happen. He said, Jill, you are here because what I realized in Chicken Soup for the Soul, what is it? They sold the company for $85 million, right? He said, I realized how important PR was. We did everything when Chicken Soup for the Soul was first starting, the smallest little things that you never heard of, and we said yes to everything. So my big thing is you say yes to everything. I learned that from the best. And let me share with you, I think TV is very powerful because there is something about being able to leverage a TV broadcast and then also say as seen on Fox News, ABC, right? And so that's amazing. I think major magazines are really good. Like, I've been in Inc. and Forbes twice now, at least, maybe 3 times. But the point is that I can leverage that everywhere you look on social media. Podcasts are easier to get and quick. So that's why I'm saying, let's start you with podcasts and move it on up after that. But here's the truth. All publicity is good publicity. So you know what? If you can get guest blogging onto, I have a financial planner who does this, for example. He guest blogs on someone else's blog. Great publicity. And by the way, he gets lots of clients from that, just saying. So you can do collaborative things. You can do your own Facebook Live. Sure. That's publicity. I want you to do whatever step feels most comfortable for you. Some of you might say, I don't want to go on camera. I have a real estate professional. She's amazing. She's brilliant. She is articulate, but for whatever reason, she doesn't like going on camera, even though she's beautiful and I try to tell her otherwise. But, the point is, some of you might be more comfortable with some things than others.
Sure. So
I say do whatever you're comfortable with first. I tend to think podcast is easier first. If you don't want camera, then go after, audio only podcasts, right? So those are great things you can find.
No, that's great. But, also too, video, I feel folks that, and of course that can be tough, but, it's a missed opportunity because people buy from people they like, know, and trust. And if you don't see the video representation of somebody, it's hard to check all those boxes. But no, that's a great point. So just a couple more questions here, and I really appreciate you spending the time. So how is best to get the word out, right? You mentioned that publicity is free, and you just have to push and push and push. But where and how do you push it, right? So you do a podcast with somebody as an example, and then what's a good practice for potentially getting that out so people know where to find you, and you're in the hands of more folks than you were previously.
Well, the first thing also I'd say, and by the way, I don't think you have to push and push and push. I think you have to practice consistent, persistent visibility building activities is what I like to call them. And that includes, yes, one of my clients, she's an organizer. I said, I want you on 4 podcasts a month. That's 1 a week. That's very doable for
Sure.
almost all of you. Okay. Just from those resources I gave you. I also love there's like Podmatch.com, there's matchmaker.fm. There's some very specific podcast matching services. I just gave you 2 of them.
Mhm.
Use those as a great dive off starting point. Okay, that would be a great
Mhm.
place for many of you to start. The other place I want most of you to start is locally. Yes, locally. I want you to be a star in your own backyard. And so that means using your local business journal, your local daily paper, your local ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, and anything else you got over there, news affiliates. And guess what? Every single day, they are looking for guests, and you're in the local community. So one thing I want you to do is keep your PR antennas up. And so when you see, let's say you're a mental health expert, and there was obviously we're dealing with lots of anxiety and problems with kids and different things that we've never had to deal with before, as we all know, coming out of this wild time that we've all been in. Guess what? There's new issues, right? And so where can you be talking about something related to that, or great resignation, another hot topic?
Yeah.
Fit yourself in. Like, by the way, if you're a coach or consultant, you can talk about the great resignation. You know why? Because you know how to run a business. That right there is fodder enough to talk to a producer about. And here's the good news. Figure on 6: ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, and then you want the morning producer of those shows,
Mhm.
radio and TV, the evening producer of those shows, and then usually there might be like a Good Day at LA is great example, or Mornings on 2 we have here in the Bay Area. There's usually a TV morning show that I always like everybody to go after. Why? Because they're fairly easy to get on. They want local guests. They want you, the expert. But remember, you're pitching in relation to your topic focus. And
Right.
what that means is it's not just about what you do, it's
Right.
how what you do fits into the news that's happening right now. I hope that makes sense.
No, it
That's
does.
what
So
you
stay
think about.
consistent, stay relevant. I was going to ask about ways to automate and different tools out there, which I appreciate. Last question, I'll let you get out of here. So, I mean, are there any best practices as it pertains to, podcasts or, some of the other mediums that we talked about at a high level in regards to maybe like, you mentioned one of your clients does a podcast, 1 per week, right? Because I've also been on shows where these guys are cranking out, 5, 6, 7 a week, and it's too much. I feel like you get lost in the shuffle. So any best practices that we can leave on in regards to maybe frequency or cadence that most folks should be looking for?
Absolutely. So I like the once a week rule, 4 times a month. Now, guess what? That feels like too much. Then go with twice a month. My point is, my friends, you've got to start somewhere. Whatever, that's why I say whatever you want to do, good. Write an article, put it on medium.com. That's easy enough for any of you to do, I promise. And so what I want you to do is have, let's call it once a month, the goal of being on, let's see, let me just restate that. Monthly, I want you on X number of podcasts. You decide. Could be
Mhm.
2, could be 4. I wouldn't, even if it's 1, just decide, pick a number. I
Sure.
want you to write 1 article a month. Okay, that's a visibility building activity. And then, if you check this out, if you spend 1 hour a week, 1 hour, And I divide it up, by the way, into two 30-minute segments. Most of my clients do too, because we're busy. That's good, right? So two 30-minute segments. And I want you to focus on and ask this question: what's one visibility building activity I can do today? It might be going on your social media platforms, typing in the word reporter. So I would look for business, because I wrote business books, right?
Sure.
I would type in business reporter into Twitter and see who shows up and reach out. Hey, listen, I wrote the book Guerrilla Publicity, or I'm launching a program, or I'm working on this, and I want to see if we can talk about this, right? That would be a great visibility building activity that's purposeful. And so I think those three things, that's plenty and good to start with. Each of you can pick that and run from there.
Excellent. No, I appreciate that. Some sage advice for sure. And then you mentioned you may have a free gift. Is that correct?
Absolutely. For your listeners, what I've done is put together some great publicity tips, even more than I gave you right now. We go in depth on it. Take a listen. I put together an action guide, and it's a 2-for-1 cool free gift because you get an invitation to my publicity masterclass. This is live, interactive with me, where I answer your questions specifically and give you some other great advice. So come on with me to the live class. It'll give you that all in the free gift. And you get that at at publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift. And hopefully, Bo, you can put that in the notes. Publicity Crash Course.
Yeah, I'll be sure to add that in the notes. No worries at all.
Yes, thank you.
Well, excellent, Jill. So where else do people find you?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. If you type in my name, you will get to my website, all my great social media, Jill Lublin. Please do that. I'd love to connect to you and love to help you any way I can in the area of publicity and getting your name out there.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks so much for joining. Really appreciate it, Jill. Fun conversation, quick, effective, informative. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Bo.
Take care.